right, we're back down to the Chief's pit. Timmy Petty, Mark Petty, Richie Petty, and we got our Uncle Richard back. We're going to continue on our conversation that we started on our last episode. So we're going to get back into some of the things that interest us, and we hope you find it interesting. Anyway, I want to get back into when y'all were kids, and grandfather making y'all dig at for that gas pump. How hard was that digging that? Because you had a pickaxe and a shovel. You had to put a 500-gallon tank in.
Yeah, we dug, and the dadgum dirt was hard as a brick. Okay, and you couldn't just shovel it out. You had to dig it out, dig it up, and then shovel it out. So, I don't even know how long we worked on that, because we got down and it was going pretty good, and then we got into some roots from the big tree out there.
Oh, no.
And we had to cut all of them down. So, I don't really remember how long it took us, but we got the dadgum thing done and dug it down and got it buried. So we done the job. That
I can't imagine. I can't imagine digging out with a shovel and a pickaxe. I mean, I just can't imagine. But grandfather was a lot like our dad. If he had us boys, he was going to make us do the work. That's what he did with y'all. That's what Daddy would say. So, but y'all also, the old reaper shed, you poured the floor with a wheelbarrow and mixed the cement.
Yeah, that was the deal. It was just a reaper shed, okay? And I think first year it was just open. Next year I think Dad had stuff put around it, but it was still a dirt floor. And so he decided, okay, we're going to pour cement. So the thing was it was flat, but it wasn't level, okay? And we didn't dig it up. We didn't do nothing. Didn't put down any gravel or anything. And what happened? We had a wheelbarrow and a 100-pound bag of cement, and we'd mix it up. And we'd go in there, and one of us would pour it out, and then he'd go back and fix it up. And the one that was in there would try to level it out. So if you go up there and look, you can see a place about
it's perfectly level.
Twice this big, and there's a square, and there's a square, and there's a square.
We know,
but it worked.
It beat the far out of dirt. I'll tell you that.
Yes, sir.
Y'all are always my heroes for all kinds of stuff. But when I learned these stories about how hard he worked, y'all, that made you even bigger heroes in my book, because I know how hard he was with us. I can't imagine being his son.
we
had us for training.
Yeah, we always thought he was hard on us.
It was easy.
And him and Daddy would say, "Y'all ain't seen that."
Yeah, he's easy now. Yeah,
well, it definitely made us what we are.
Yeah. Well, I want to get into you and Maurice when y'all took over in '61.
Right.
We got into this with Kyle a little bit, talking about Daytona stuff. But y'all left Daytona Beach in '61. Your mother and father at the hospital.
Right.
You didn't know if he was going to live. He was in dire straits.
Yeah.
Y'all come home with 2 tore-up race cars. The business is probably not going to make it.
Hanging by a thread.
We didn't have any sponsorship.
Right.
Okay.
But
Yes, sir.
how did you do it? I mean, I can't imagine.
Now, the good Lord was looking after us, I guess, after all the bad things we had, because, Dad went through the wall down there. I went over the wall in the first race and tore up both cars. And so I think we went in there on Monday evening, and Daddy was there, and he was about half out of it. And he said, y'all go on home, go up to Greensboro, the Plymouth place, and go ahead and pick up another car, and me and your mother will be home about Friday. 4 months later on Friday, he come home.
4 months is a number.
But anyhow, we went up and got the car, and at that time the cars were really, really stopped. So we put roll bars in it. We done what we could do, and I don't even know if we had any help here at that time. We might have had 1 or 2 people, because the guys that was working for us and working for Daddy and me, when we went to Daytona and Daddy got hurt, they all quit.
Because they didn't know if the
They thought it was over with.
Yeah.
They didn't know we was going to be able to pay their salary or not. And,
Holy smokes.
That's what I mean. That's
lucky that
Sobering.
Mother took care of the
right.
financing. And I don't know if Daddy and I know I didn't never know if there was any money or not, but she always managed to come up with enough money to pay the bills.
Well, I got notes in there that he wrote by hand in the hospital trying to get people that he'd loaned money to get his money back to him.
Yeah.
That's how bad a shape y'all was
Yeah.
in. He was calling in loans from the hospital. I can't imagine what y'all went through. I was probably 20, 21 years old, and Daddy he got sick and had to go in the hospital for a week or so.
Yep.
But he told us, y'all go race. Y'all be fine. I had a tough time going to race because that's the first time I ever been to the racetrack without him.
Yeah.
He was our crutch. You leaned on him.
Right,
Yeah.
because anything there. But y'all were back in Level Cross going and doing your racing, and he's in Daytona Beach.
Yeah, it was the same way with us.
Yeah.
Because we always followed his lead. We went when he said go. We worked on the car. He told us what he wanted done on the car. Okay, and all of a sudden we had to start making the decisions. And the deal was that I guess we had both paid enough attention to know what direction he wanted us to go. And so it was, 61 wound up being a pretty tough year. But by the end of the year, we kind of worked our way at least even. And so then come back in 62 and done pretty good. In 63, we really done good. So it was a deal that we learned that I think Chief was like 21, I was 22 or 23. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, the whole family is depending on us, and we had never been in charge of anything. Mother and Daddy take care of everything. So, we had to pay the bills, the whole deal. I mean, they had me bookkeeping. Every time you buy something, you'd sell something, you'd put it down on a piece of paper and all this stuff. And
So we talk about 75 years of petty racing. It ain't been glory. There's been some tough times.
well,
And
yeah.
I appreciate everything y'all did because
Everybody
y'all
goes to ups and downs.
but y'all
That was really a down time for us. But in the long run, it's probably the best thing that happened because you learned so much, and then you appreciated when things did go right because you done been on the other end of the tube. And so all of a sudden, when you start going better, you appreciate that, and then you work that much harder not to go back.
right. Well, I always y'all are just amazing people, and I'm just thankful to be part of you a little bit. But y'all are some amazing people, and there ain't no doubt about
Well,
that.
we were just very fortunate. Good Lord had something for us to do, and left us here long enough. And the big deal it was as time progressed, we got so many good people around us.
Yep.
I mean, Dale Inman came and started working with us and stuff. You know what I mean? And then we had Richie Bars and people. I mean, Richie was talking to Richie the other night. He worked here like 35 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's like what grandfather, he always said that Pop Red was the best mechanic he ever had hired. Daddy always said John Coble was the best guy he'd ever hired. And then from then on, surround yourself with good people and good things will happen.
Around good people. I got the glory, but they done the work. All I had to do was, I worked on the car myself too, but all I had to do was drive and try not to wreck the thing. And the cars we built, and my dad taught us real early, preventive maintenance. Don't just wait till something breaks, fix it before it breaks, or at least check it.
Yep.
And we were the first Cup team that when the car come in here Monday, we disassembled the whole car. We went through every wheel bearing, every spring, every rubber, and the guys wasn't doing that. So that give us advantage once we went to the car because a lot of times we'd get out and run, but those cars would break down.
Right.
They'd have trouble, and we didn't have trouble. And if you look back in the records and stuff, that's what they call Lee Petty, Mr. Consistency.
Yes, sir.
He done the general maintenance.
Yeah.
He never, up until 1953 or 54, he never raced with nobody. He just went out and ran.
Right.
And he knew how long he could keep the car. Once he got that Hemi stuff, he started racing with people then.
The biggest thing he taught us, and Daddy did the same thing, and you was part of it too. Do not leave this shop unless you're ready to go race.
Right.
Do not show up to the racetrack and work on it. Be ready to win when you unload.
You don't fix a race car at the race shop.
Right.
I mean, it's at the racetrack. You fix the race car. When you take it off that trailer or take it out of that truck, it's ready to run 100 miles or 500 miles right then. don't touch nothing, just go run.
That was the biggest lesson I learned from all y'all.
I know I'm gonna turn it over to Mark for a minute. Tell him what Daddy said about this man made the difference and why.
Well, he just always said, he'd tell me, he said, whether you was running first, fourth, eighth, ninth, whatever, you drove up until the checkered flag. And he said a lot of people would be like maybe fourth or fifth and be 3 or 4 laps ago, and they say, okay, this is all I'm going to get. This is where I'm going to finish. And he said there's a lot of times that stuff would happen in them last laps, and because you was still driving as hard as you could, like, and the 79 Daytona 500 comes to mind because you had Darrell and AJ behind you, and I feel like if you had, I feel like they might have been maybe a little faster than you, but you was driving so hard, that's why you won.
Put yourself in position to win.
Yeah. And that's me just looking back on it.
Both races, we won races at the very end of the race, and then we've lost races.
Like the 76. Yeah.
But even the ones we lost, we was busy racing to try to win.
But he said we never questioned the effort you put up driving the car. He said that was never.
No matter what.
See, the deal there was those guys done the work, and they had confidence in the car. So then it was up to me to get everything in that car that I could.
Yes, sir.
And they let me do that part because I believed in the car, and I knew I could do what I needed to do with the car and finish the race. So the combination of them supporting me and me supporting them made it all happen.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of videos of the 70s and all. When you get overheated and come out, and the concern on Daddy's face, trying to get you cooled off. He loved you, man. He would protect you any way he could, couldn't he?
Yeah, he'd take a bullet for me. That's for sure. It worked both ways.
Amen,
I know I did. Both ways.
You know, you got to figure that there's been 268 race cars that come out of here with his engines in them that won races, and there's nobody even on the same page with him as far as building the engines. The engine guys now, they've got all these computers, they got these CNC machines, you know, they don't really touch that much. And where the chief would, all the pieces that come in, he would do the block, he would do the cranks, he would do the pistons, do the valves, do the port and relieve the heads. He done all of that by himself. Well, John would help him, and then he had a couple of other guys. But when it came to putting the engine together, he put the engine together himself. Yep. You know what I mean? And he balanced the engines. I mean, you know, and over a period of time, he got other people to help him with that stuff. But when you say an engine builder, he was an engine builder. And there's not any engine builders out there now that touch every piece, you know, that they coordinate it and they do a heck of a job to make that work. But it takes so many more people to make a race car or make an engine or even make the car. And so, you know, and it's so much computerized stuff now that.
Well, they've turned it into engine manufacturing. Back then it was engine building, more or less.
More or less, right.
Yeah.
That's where it was.
Jimmy, you got anything?
Yeah, I think this is going to require a whole nother episode. So I want to go back to when he was like the crew chief and the chief mechanic here.
Yeah. But
I don't want to do that today. I think, how much time we got? Can we roll on?
Keep rolling. Keep rolling.
All right. Well, we're rolling. So as things got better, and obviously they did, and everybody kind of knows that story. So we're just going to go rocket years in advance. I've been able and fortunate enough to take a lot of customers for both parties up to the museum.
Yeah.
And which, you know, celebrating 75 years. But some of the really cool things is your personal collections. And I always take people around. And one of the things that's really cool to me is when you invested in the Mel Fisher's dive for the Atosha, the Spanish pieces of 8 and all that.
1622 when that thing sunk.
See there? But I love that, and I love showing people, and people really appreciate that you was able to do that. The other thing, when you visit the museum, is all the presidents this man's got to shake hands with.
That's crazy.
And it's just, you know, it starts with that car there in 71 when y'all got to go up there and meet Nixon.
Yep.
And so if you got time to come to Level Cross and celebrate the 75th with us, you got to come to the museum because this man's got gun collections. Civil War memorabilia, which I'm a nut about the Civil War just because of the technology that we gained. The coins, the pocket watches, the knives.
Well, he's a history buff.
We all are.
Yeah.
And we love the
We got
history.
a couple of guns too.
Yeah.
No, and I want to, well, while we're on the guns, we're going to go back and Kyle and us talked about it. They wouldn't give. Did you ever get a BB gun when you was a
No,
kid?
when I was growing up, no.
So none of us did.
Okay, what happened? Every Christmas, we
Christmas?
asked for a BB gun. Asked for a BB gun. No, can't have a BB gun. Got up one Christmas morning, had a rifle,
22.
a 22 single shot rifle, because they were concerned about if we had a BB gun, we'd probably shoot at each other. With a gun, they knew we wouldn't shoot at each other.
Gotcha.
Well, that same rule applied to all of us.
Okay, and I think we're probably maybe 6 or 7 years old, 5 or 6 years old. But I mean, from the time we knew there was a BB gun, we wanted a Red Ryder BB gun. You know,
It's just like the movie.
Yeah.
Just shoot your eye out.
Yeah.
And I bought one and put it in a museum. So
No, and
I finally got one.
I finally got one.
how long?
I had to buy it myself.
That took years then. So, all right. The other cool thing about, and I don't know what year when we did the thing over at the Hall of Fame, and we all got together and had a meal, and it was a good time for the Petty family. All right. I didn't know this had happened because I know you've always been kind of, you've had sponsors with the military and helped them out and done all you could for the military, but you got to go with the USO to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Now, was that with Bob Hope or who was, do you even remember?
It was it's a separate deal. There was a couple of USAC drivers. Some USAC guy got this deal together, and Butch Hartman and another guy from I guess they run USAC.
Yes, sir.
Don Garlis, drag racer, he went, and I went. And we went up there for Christmas, went over there for about a month. And in fact, the way it worked was we was all going to leave like the last, right after Thanksgiving, I think, and go over and stay a month. Well, somehow or another, the race in Texas got rained out. So I had to stay. They went on. And so I had to go over there. I went on a military plane.
I was going to ask, did you go on a military transport?
Military deal. And he's on the deal, and every 4 hours they'd come in and wake you up and feed you. I mean, couldn't get no sleep. But anyhow, and we went over there, and so then I got with them, and we stayed over there. And I think I got back home on the 23rd or the 24th of December, right before Christmas.
What year was this?
71, I think.
Okay.
I think it was right along there.
And that just intrigues me to
And,
know
when
it.
we was over there, we went out on the top of some of them mountains and stuff. And the only way they could get there was helicopter. And them guys would go out and stay 2 or 3 months, and then they'd bring another crowd in. I mean, it was fantastic to go and sort of see. We never got where they was shooting it in.
Right.
But, you could see.
I'm glad you didn't.
You could see where they'd been. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But anyhow, so we was able to come home. And while I was over there, then in Saigon, I guess, went shopping. So Linda was a big doll collector. So I bought her 2 or 3 dolls. Well, the deal was you couldn't pack anything. I had to carry it.
Oh, no. That'd be my luck.
Here I am, got 2 or 3 dolls, and some of them was this big. Anyhow, and so then I had a couple of suitcases. So when we were on land, we come back in a place somewhere in California. Then they took me over to, I think, San Francisco or somewhere to put me on the plane. Well, they put me out here, and I had to go clean around probably a quarter of a mile. So I carry the suitcases, 100 yards, put them down, go back and get the dolls. Anyhow, finally got home. And I think it was Christmas Eve when I finally got home. But anyhow, that was quite an adventure to go with that deal.
I knew it was a good story, but that's even better than what I imagined.
But she let you back in the door because you had them dolls, right?
We still got them dolls.
All right.
At the museum, right? Yep.
What I want to know, you went to Daytona Beach in '59 in a convertible.
Right.
What kind of experience was that? All that air coming over the top on you.
Yeah.
Could you feel it?
Really, no. Really, what happened? We run 130 miles an hour. Okay, the wind coming across and stuff didn't come right back in the deal. It went back and hit behind you.
Gotcha.
I mean, you could have lit a cigarette in there,
Gotcha.
and there was no. Right where I was sitting, there was no wind at all.
Who else would know this?
Oh, that's right.
Because that Oldsmobile was big as this garage. Wind was way over there somewhere. You know.
Holy smokes, that is awesome.
But that was a question I always had because I looked at that. I was like, how in the world did you run down there?
Mark, ain't you got a good question?
I'm just enjoying it.
I know. I find myself not wanting to talk. I just want to
Well,
listen.
you know, like I told Daddy, when me and him did a lot of talking, and I always was amazed as the years went through that y'all seen the very first race for Grand National or Winston Cup or whatever it is now, Cup racing.
Yeah.
Y'all was at the very first one. That is a
And he still goes.
He still goes. That's what
like
I'm
there's
saying.
nobody on earth ever seen as many.
And they're not going to.
NASCAR Cup.
That's
races.
another record.
You got
in
a
itself.
record right there. You'll never see another. Yeah.
June the 6th, 1949. And my birthday was in July. I was 11 years old when I went to the first race. Next race I went to, I was 12.
There you go.
It was probably 2 or 3 weeks. You know.
Holy smokes, that's a good story.
That's some good stuff. We're gonna have to have you back down here because I got more stuff to talk about. I know you got a busy schedule, so like and subscribe.
You can have questions for 86 years, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I got that many.
And this is just the beginning of all the 75th anniversary stuff, and we hope y'all are enjoying the stories as much as we are talking.
Oh,
about it.
I'm enjoying it because I'm learning.
It's a lesson every day.
We appreciate the lessons.
Oh yeah.
And, yep.
So don't forget, like and subscribe. That means a lot to us on this channel because we're trying to build it. So let's get this going. Leave us some comments. We'll answer any questions you got. And hey, if you got any suggestions, let us know. But thanks for tuning in.
Come visit the museum.